class 5. Today we are going to study the story of Raira Atea. Now this is a Mizo folk tale, so some of you might have heard this story before, but I want you all to pay a very close attention, as this is a very interesting story. Now turn your textbook to page number 115, Unit 7, the story of Raira Atea. Long time ago, there was a poor little boy, and his name was Raira Atea. He lived with his stepmother, who was very cruel to him and always made him do difficult work. Now, as I have mentioned earlier, this is a Mizo folk tale, and during our forefathers' days, they were usually very poor, and due to poverty, it was difficult to feed another child an extra mouth, so an orphan or a stepchild was a burden, and hence usually they were treated badly by their stepmother. And this is reflected here in this story as well. Raira Atea's stepson was treated horribly by his stepmother, and so his mother says, "Raira Atea, go and get firewood from the forest." Even though Raira Atea is just a small boy, a very young boy, he is sent to the forest all by himself to get firewood, and all he could say was, "Yes, mother," so he went. Now one day, the cruel stepmother sold Raira Atea to sailors whose ships were stranded in the river. Now here, what is not mentioned in our textbook is that even though their ships were stranded, the sailors did not have any problem because they have a magic axe, and with that axe they can have whatever they want. But this axe was stolen by a python, and so the sailors were now helpless without their magic axe, and so they decided to offer a human sacrifice. And when Raira Atea's stepmother heard this, she was ready to sell Raira Atea to the sailors. So she says, "You can have Raira Atea for a bowl of money." And so the sailors accepted, and they said, "Okay, here is the bowl of money." And they took Raira Atea. They said, "Come, Raira Atea." Now Raira Atea was held captive by the sailors. One day, a python suddenly appeared, and the python says to Raira Atea, "Please save me from the sailors who are looking for me." The python is pleading Raira Atea. He says, "The sailors are looking for me. They're going to kill me. Please save me. Please help me." But Raira Atea looked at the python. He says, "I am also a captive. And besides that, look at you. You are too big. Where will I hide you? Now, if we must die, let us die together." But the python says, No, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Let's do something. I can make myself smaller. If you hide me, I will give you anything you want." And when the python says, "I can make myself smaller," Raira Atea says, "In that case, I might be able to hide you. If you can make yourself smaller, then I can hide you. Now hurry up. Make yourself small." And so the python then made himself to the size of a needle. And Raira Atea took the needle-sized python, and he hid him in his hair. And sure enough, the sailors came to Raira Atea and they said, "Raira Atea, have you seen a python?" But Raira Atea says, "No, I haven't seen any python. Why do you ask me?" But one of the sailors says, "I don't believe you. I don't believe what you're saying. Because see, look, the python's trail stops right here. I think you're lying." But Raira Atea says, "I haven't seen any python. Why would I lie? And even if I see a python, then how will I hide the python? The python is huge. Where will I hide it?" So the sailors now believed him, and then they went away. And once they are gone, the python came out, turned himself into his normal size again, and he said, "You have saved me from death." He thanked Raira Atea. He says, "Thank you so much. You have saved me. Now I'll do anything you want me to do. What do you want? Just name it. Do you want jewels? Do you want money? Just name it." And then he vomited lots of jewels and asked Raira Atea, "Take all these jewels. It's yours now. It's a reward for saving me. But Rairata says, no, I don't want all these jewels. What I want is, I want that shiny object in your mouth. Please open your mouth. I want that shiny object in your mouth. And the python says, no, I can't give you this one, because the python wants that shiny object in his mouth. He says, I cannot give you this. But since the python was grateful to Rairatia, he says, okay, since you have saved my life, you can borrow it. I'm not giving it to you, but you can borrow it and you can have it for some time as a reward for saving my life. And the shiny object inside the python's mouth was a magic axe. And with this axe, you can do whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. And now this is in Rairatia's possession. So what he did was, he ordered the magic axe to free all the ships, and all the sailors are very happy. They're very happy, and as a result, he was adopted by one of the sailors, and they lived happily. And after a few years, Rairati asked his father, Father, I want to marry the daughter of the great chief of Tripura. Tripura is a state in India. This red color here, that's Tripura. So he says, I want to marry the daughter of the great chief of Tripura. And when his father heard this, he was worried. He says, I don't know, son, if that is possible. See, look at us. We are poor, we're just peasants. And to marry a princess, that will be difficult. But anyway, I'll go and see what I can do. So his father went. Rairatia's father went to meet the chief of Tripura. And when he reached there, his house was guarded very strictly by soldiers. And still, Rairatia's father went up to the guards, up to the soldiers. And one of the soldiers says, what do you want? And he said, well, my son would like to marry the princess. But before he could even finish his sentence, the guard says, you must die. Kill him and throw his body into the river. And just like that, they killed him and they threw his body. The chief soldiers killed Rairatia's father. And Rairatia was back at home waiting for his father to come back. And so, since his father took so long, Rairatia went looking for his father. And he took his magic axe with him. And he went looking for his father. And he thinks to himself, he says, they must have killed my father. So he took out his magic axe and he says, magic axe, bring my father back to life. And there his father became alive and appeared beside him. Now his father woke up and he told everything to Rairatia. But he says, Rairatia, I'll go there again. I'll go to the chief's house again, and I'll talk to the chief, and you shall marry the chief's daughter. And then there he went again. When he was at the gate, the guards saw him and they were angry. They said, how dare you come again? Kill him. And once again the soldiers killed Rairatia's father, and Rairatia again ordered his magic axe to bring back his father. The father was alive again. And the father says, son, I am not afraid. I will go again. I will go and meet the chief. And so he went there again. And the soldiers, for the third time he went there again. And when the soldiers seized him again, they were very, very surprised. And one of them says, my God, this man really wants to see the chief. And the other one says, okay, let him go to the chief. And so they took him to the chief. And when the chief saw Rairatia's father, he asked Rairatia's father, tell me, why do you want to see me? And with this we shall stop for today. We shall continue in the next class. And your homework is this. I'll just read it out for you. You have to do this in your English notebook. You have to copy all the questions as well. True or false, and fill in the blanks. True or false, number 1. The sailors were looking for the python. Number 2. The python gave money to Rairatia's stepmother. Number 3. Rairatia's father wanted to meet the chief of Tripura. fill in the blanks. Number 1. At first, the sailors did not believe Rairatea because the python's dash stopped beside him. Number 2. The python let Rairatea borrow his dash axe for saving his life. Number 3. Rairatea was sold to the sailors for a dash of money.